But this is something, bare bones basics, guys, stuff that everybody should know. The resources that I provide to you in the description and the show notes that you can find on Patreon, they're huge. So the NIH Khan Academy, really great resources, and it allows you to dig a whole lot deeper. So please don't let this be the end all be all for this part of your knowledge base, this part of your skill set. Please just let this episode be a stepping stone. Hey guys, this is Seven with the Hard Time Strongman podcast, cheering up a bear class man. And today, I am all on my lonesome, and I am continuing our medical crash course series with our first installment in the body systems series with the Integumentary System. So, the Integumentary System, structures and functions. So, references for today are from the Khan Academy and the National Library of Medicine. The integumentary system is the largest organ system of the body that forms a physical barrier between the external environment and the internal environment that serves to protect and maintain. The integumentary system is made up of the skin, hair, nails, and the associated glands. So, the functions of the integumentary system are to act as a physical barrier and immunity, to regulate body temperature, fluid retention, wound healing, vitamin D production, and providing the body's feeling of sensation. So, the skin is the largest organ of the body. It's the body's outermost protection, providing a physical barrier between the inside of the body and the outside world. It houses the nerves that gives the perception of touch, heat, cold, and pain. The skin houses antimicrobial peptides, AMPs, and lipids that act as a biomolecular barrier, which disrupts bacterial membranes. When the body undergoes trauma resulting in injuries, so an abrasion, a laceration, a burn, the integumentary system heals itself through hemostasis, inflammation, proliferation, and remodeling. And, just for the sake of time, I'm going to cover this whole process in another class for you guys. With ultraviolet light exposure, the skin will convert 7-dehydrocholesterol to vitamin D3. The skin regulates body temperature through vasodilation and vasoconstriction. Constriction retaining heat and dilation dissipating heat. So think about like if your skin starts to get red, that's vasodilation. And the nerves can also signal muscles to shiver when too cold, generating heat. So the skin is made up of 3 layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis, or sometimes called the subcutaneous layer, or just adipose tissue. The epidermis is tough. It's the outermost layer of the skin. It's your first line of defense against the external environment. It's made up of layers and layers of cells, the outermost layer being devoid of blood supply, and it gets its nutrition from the underlying dermis. So the dermis is the underlying connective tissue framework that supports the epidermis. The dermis contains blood and lymph vessels, sweat glands, hair follicles, nerve, and other structures embedded within the connective tissue. It provides blood to the epidermis and nerves that provide sensation. So when I was going through nursing school, this was described as the living layer, or the living dermis. So you think of the epidermis, it's just a layer, just a patchwork of dead, simple squamous cells. So that's the skin cells that rub off the dry skin, what have you. But those are constantly being replenished. So what you are actually able to see with your naked eye, that's all dead skin cells. But, it takes a long time for those, or it doesn't take a long time, but it takes time for those to replenish. And that's, honestly, it's really cool. Hey guys, This is Six and Seven. We want to take a break from the episode to tell you a little bit about our sponsor, Blackbeard Fire Starters.
We've had Blackbeard Firestarter in our kit for years, ever since they came out with the Firestarter rope, which was seemingly powered by black magic. It was waterproof, it was windproof, it just worked.
And since then, nothing's changed. In fact, they've gone even better. They add their fire plugs, they started selling waterproof matches, ferro rod, arc lighters. You can't say anything now, but they're continuing to grow. And I feel like they're only going to get better with age. And on top of sponsoring the show, keeping the lights on for us, they're also offering a 15% discount on anything in their store if you use code STRONGMEN.
Head on over to their website at blackbeardfire.com. You can check out their entire inventory and see what works best for you. And like we said, at checkout, use code STRONGMEN, one word, to get 15% off your order.
Thanks, guys. Now back to the episode. And the hypodermis is the layer between the dermis and the underlying organs. It's commonly called the subcutaneous tissue, like we talked about before. It's made up of areolar or connective and adipose or fat tissue. It provides cushion, from your body in the outside environment and insulation for the body, and it all connects to the underlying structures. Your hair grows from the dermis, that living layer, and is divided into two parts: the hair follicle that's within the dermis and the external hair shaft, what you are actually able to perceive. It covers the majority of the body, with exceptions to the palms, soles, lips, and portions of external genitalia. So think of not just the hair of your hair or your axillary, your armpits, but also the very fine hairs on your face or on your arms, on the side of your arms. It is quite literally most everywhere. It provides mechanical protection of the skin, so just another add layer, right? And it increases sensory function and aids in temperature regulation. So thinking of add sensory function, so think about if you're walking past somebody or somebody and you brush the hair on their arm, your hair brushes their arm. It's just add function for you. The way that I kind of like to think of it is on a very, very smaller scale, but think of like a cat's whiskers, how they're able to traverse space in the dark, and know exactly kind of where their body is. It's the same sort of idea. It filters particles from entering the eyes, ears, and nose. So your eyes, your eyelashes, your eyebrows, your ears, ear hair on the inside, your nose hair, all filters out incoming particles or other stuff that shouldn't be there. And the things called the erector pili muscles help hair stand erect to trap air close to the skin to retain heat. So when you get goosebumps, you get the hair on your neck or your arm stands up. That's actually a response, a nervous response to trap that hair close to you because your body thinks that it's cold. Your nails are formed from layers of keratin on the dorsal, the back side of the tips of your fingers and your toes. Nails grow outwardly or distally, and as new cells grow, they push out the old cells. That's why we have to trim our fingers and our toenails. Nails protect the fingers and toes, help with the precision of movements, and enhance sensation. So think of it as our version of claws, essentially. So obviously much, much weaker than in animals. However, you are able to get those very precise movements. There is some scratching function there. But most of all, it protects your fingers. So associated glands. So there are 4 types of exocrine or associated glands. So there are 4 types of exocrine glands. Exocrine referring to the gland that makes substances and releases them in your skin. So sudoriferous or sweat glands regulate your body's temperature by allowing heat to dissipate through the evaporation of sweat. Sebaceous, sebum, hair oil glands secrete sebum, a protective layer that prevents fluid loss and is antimicrobial. Ceruminous or cerumen Kerman, earwax glands are located in the external auditory canal and protects the ear canal from physical damage and is antimicrobial. And your mammary glands, which secrete milk. So I know this was a shorter class for you guys. This is, I feel like we cover a lot of things that are hard to convey over, over voice, by hearing. But I will provide a lot of really cool visuals for you guys that I think will help get the picture together. But this has been a long time coming. I've been trying to find the best way to get the material together. I've been trying to, find the very best way to do this. And, it's kind of a tough sell, but this is something that just needs to get done. So we're continuing on the installment now, hopefully with haste, and I'll get more episodes out to you guys soon. But this is something, bare bones basics, guys, stuff that everybody should know. The resources that I provide to you in the in the description and the show notes that you can find on Patreon, they're huge. So the NIH Khan Academy, really great resources, and it allows you to dig a whole lot deeper. So please don't let this be the end all be all for this part of your knowledge base, this part of your skill set. Please just let this episode be a stepping stone. I truly believe this class is just giving us information that everybody should know. For the sake of time and your listening retention, I didn't talk about the pathophysiology of the skin, so things that can go wrong. But that is a class that I tend to do in the future after we've covered everything. But a lot of stuff is just me nerding out, so it's just it's a passion project, and we'll see when and where it goes. But this was the first true installment of the Biosystem series in our medical crash course. This is a living, growing thing. So if you guys have any kind of questions, comments, concerns, requests, please let us know. We listen to everything. We try to read every single message. I do read every single message. We try to reply to everybody as soon as we can. So if you have anything for us, just let us know, and we'll keep building up this knowledge base. So thanks for listening, guys. I had a lot of fun recording this episode, even if it was just me. I hope you got a lot out of it, and I'm excited to see where we go. Until next time, this was the Hard Time Strongman podcast, sharing up a bear class of man. Stay in the fight.
Check out our Discord, where we talk about all of the topics that we talk about in our conversations, but in deep dive format. We have a lot of members on there of varying skill sets, of varying proficiencies, all talking about all these topics, sharing their experiences. So join today and help us expand our knowledge base.
And check out our Patreon. Our Patreon, outside of just backing up all of our episodes for when we eventually get canceled, our patrons get access to our exclusive episodes, our pre-shows, our post-shows, our little tidbits here and there that we aren't really supposed to talk about. We're also opening up all of these exclusive episodes for people to individually purchase. So you don't have to get tied into a tier in order to get all that content. You can dip your toes in a little bit, decide you like it, then come and join us on that. We're having exclusive conversations, and along with the Discord, we are just building that community, building that skill set, that mastery, these proficiencies. And this, outside of our sponsor, is what's keeping the lights on and keeping all of this information, all these classes rolling for you guys. So make sure to check out our Patreon. And one last thing, guys, the world is better with you in it. If you're feeling suicidal or if you're in crisis, dial 988 or reach out at 988lifeline.org to get help. Someone's always on the line. So if you need a lifeline, remember 988. Stay in the fight.
Stay in the fight.